Hey, this is Synergy Loves Company, where we explore how Disney connects to everything because there's so much magic out there beyond the Disney parks. Let's discover some together. I'm Eric, and today, in honor of the 50th episode of Synergy Loves Company, we are going to kick off a mini-series. Yay! Last year around this time, I ran a little series about only murders in the building. It was 3 episodes long, and I called it The Only Legend in the Series. I tried to channel my best true crime podcast style while I exposed how Steve Martin was the only Disney legend of the core cast, even though Martin Short and Selena Gomez could also claim enough Disney work to be legends themselves. I really had a lot of fun doing that series, and I thought I could make it a late summer, early fall tradition. Since last year's series, I have done quite a few musical shows. The Beach Boys, John Stamos, Taylor Swift, DTV on Disney Channel. Heck, on my episode comparing Disneyland and Walt Disney World, I talked about the parks in terms of musical albums. I love music, and I want to keep the turntables spinning, so this series is going to explore the holy trinity of pop music from my favorite decade of pop music, the 1980s. If you love the 80s just as much as I do, you don't have to ask who they are, the holy pop trinity of the 80s. But in case you're not obsessed like me, we're talking about the queen of pop, the material girl Madonna, the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson, and his royal badness, the purple one, Prince. 80s pop royalty. So what are you looking at? Let's get into this first episode of this mini-series, Madonna and Disney. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Synergy Loves Company. You may know her as the material girl who is consistently burning up the charts, but we are crazy for Madonna, the true blue artist who should be cherished for the way she expresses herself through music, art, and a constantly evolving image. Today on Synergy Loves Company, let's get into the groove and take a look at how Madonna connects to Disney. Madonna was born in Bay City, Michigan on August 16, 1958, and that's her real name, Madonna Louise Ciccone. It's not a stage name, Madonna. Growing up, she took piano and ballet lessons, and she really loved to dance. In fact, she got a scholarship to study dance at the University of Michigan. However, she dropped out in 1978 and decided to move to New York City. She started to find work as a backup dancer for some musical acts, and during this time, she met musician Dan Gilroy, and the two began dating and forming their own band, The Breakfast Club. No, not the movie. That would come later in the 80s. The band was first and less popular. Madonna left The Breakfast Club before they gained any traction, but they did go on to become a pretty decently sized band. But I do want to take a little break really quick and talk about The Breakfast Club and its co-founder, Dan Gilroy. The Breakfast Club actually did have some minimal success without Madonna, but later on in 1990, Dan Gilroy starred as Gordon Goose in Disney Channel's Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme. Not totally Madonna related, but super Disney connected, so bear with me. If you haven't seen Disney Channel's Mother Goose Rock and Rhyme, it is quite the spectacle. The movie features nursery rhymes done in a fun, funky, and fresh early 90s style, and it has an all-star cast including Gary Shandling, Woody Harrelson, Shelley Duvall, Little Richard, Bobby Brown, Cyndi Lauper. There's just so many. It even has both Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, but not Simon and Garfunkel. They're not performing together. Don't think it's a reunion or anything like that. No. Art Garfunkel is Georgie Porgy, a bartender at a club where the Stray Cats perform as cats, because that's a thing. I almost didn't think this was real. I vaguely remembered something like this from when I was a kid, but I thought it was like an amalgam of a bunch of stuff I'd seen. But no, it's totally real. It is a 90s pop culture fever dream, and it's definitely something you should check out. But let's get back to Madonna, though. She left the Breakfast Club and decided to go out on her own as a solo artist in 1980. After recording a demo and hanging out at all the popular New York dance clubs, she finally got a few of those clubs to play her music. In 1982, she released her first single, Everybody, and not everybody liked it. In fact, some of the early reviews were not very kind at all. One of them said she sounded like Minnie Mouse on helium. Not a great first Disney reference, but stay with me. Her next single, Burnin' Up, was a bigger hit, and her album had a number of big hits on it, including Holiday and Lucky Star. And from there, the hits kept coming with her next album, 1985's Like a Virgin. She started to become the biggest pop diva in the world. Fans started to dress like her to sold out concerts all over the world. Everyone was obsessed. It was kind of like Swifties planning their outfits for Taylor Swift concerts today, but like the original version. Madonna was kind of a big deal. She created the modern female pop star mold that would be repeated for years to come. At the height of Madonna's 80s popularity, when everyone wanted to be like Madonna, Disney even got into the game with 1988's Totally Minnie TV special. Totally Minnie was the first project to put Minnie Mouse front and center. It was her first starring role. In the special, she shows off how cool she is while performing songs with Elton John and helping Suzanne Summers teach Robert Carradine how to be cool. Because Minnie is the it girl of the 80s, just like Madonna. Madonna's picture is even featured on the wall of the Minnie Mouse Center for the Totally Unhip, implying that Madonna has learned how to be hip from Minnie Mouse and Suzanne Summers. I don't care what you say. The fact that Disney gave Minnie her first leading role for the first time in 60 years, and that it was as a pop star, hip, it girl in the 1980s, this is a direct result of the impact Madonna had on pop culture at the time. She was becoming one of the biggest pop stars in the world at the time and redefining what it meant to be a woman in pop music. All of this while MTV was super important, and she took advantage of the music video medium, which made her even more of a star and gave her some big silver screen breaks. By the end of the decade, Madonna released her album Like a Prayer. It was a statement, it was controversial, it was serious art, and you could dance to it. And at this point, critics were calling her one of the most compelling voices of the 80s, a little different than how they started out talking about her music at the beginning of the decade. In 1987, during a photo shoot, rock star photographer Herb Ritt snapped a picture of Madonna wearing a Minnie Mouse ears headband. This was her little way of poking fun at those early remarks that she sounded like Minnie Mouse on helium. She used that photo as the cover of the single to Dear Jessie from the album Like a Prayer. The song Dear Jessie has a psychedelic lullaby feel, and the lyrics have a lot of fantasy imagery. It's not one of those dance floor jams. The music video for Dear Jessie invokes even more Disney. It starts with a dreaming child and moves into an animated dream world where Madonna is an animated fairy looking pretty much like Tinkerbell. In the video, the Tinkerbell Madonna magically makes the child's toys come alive, and she visits the worlds of the artwork on the kid's bedroom wall. But that stuff's all only Disney-like, so let's get to the real Disney and Madonna stuff. Throughout her career, Madonna did a lot of movie roles, small roles with cameo parts, and big starring roles. She had been establishing herself as a movie star as well as a music superstar. In 1992, Madonna starred as Breathless Mahoney in Disney's Touchstone's Dick Tracy. I was a total Dick Tracy fan as a kid. I thought the villains looked creepy and cool. I really wanted that communicator watch, and I was even Dick Tracy for Halloween. I was all in. In the movie, Madonna's Breathless Mahoney was a showgirl lounge singer who plays a major role in the story. No spoilers. Go watch the movie. But the role of Breathless and the 1930s style of the movie inspired Madonna to record a whole album of songs from and inspired by Dick Tracy. It was called I'm Breathless. Get it? Her character was Breathless Mahoney. I'm Breathless. Anyway, it was one of the soundtrack albums for the Dick Tracy movie. Dick Tracy was kind of all over the place because the title star producer, Warren Beatty, he wanted the movie to kind of be a little bit of everything. The movie was scored by Disney legend Danny Elfman, and even though it wasn't a musical, they got the Stephen Sondheim to write original songs for the movie. And Madonna sang a few of them that were also on the I'm Breathless album. Sooner or Later, More, and What Can You Lose, which was a duet with Mandy Patinkin. She added a slew of other songs with a 1930s Prohibition-era lounge sound to these Sondheim numbers from the movie and made a whole album where all the songs sounded like a 1930s album recorded in the 1990s. That is all of them but one. While working on the movie and exploring 30s speakeasies and golden age Hollywood movie stars, Madonna wanted to write a song that would fit the feel of the era, but still be played on the 90s radio. At the same time, she saw dancers at the clubs in New York performing a style of dance where they would strike a pose inspired by fashion models on the cover of a magazine. It was called voguing. The Dick Tracy inspired modern song was Vogue. It was Vogue. That's why she lists all those golden age Hollywood celebrities in the middle of the song. Don't just stand there, let's get to it, strike a pose, there's nothing to it, Vogue. All right. It's not in the movie itself. Vogue was released, though, on I'm Breathless, that Disney soundtrack of music from and inspired by Dick Tracy. And Vogue was inspired by Dick Tracy, a Disney Touchstone film. Dang, that was tons of Madonna Disney history right there. That's a big one. And there's more of it on the way. In 1996, Madonna got to grace the Disney silver screens once again in Hollywood Pictures' Evita. Evita is a musical by composer Andrew Lloyd Webber and Disney legend lyricist Tim Rice. In 1976, they started the project as a follow-up to their smash success musical Jesus Christ Superstar. Evita started as a studio-recorded concept album about beloved Argentinian First Lady Eva Perón. It was about her rise to popularity and her premature death from cancer at the age of 33. Next, in 1978, the musical hit the stage with a full production. In 1996, after Tim Rice had worked on Disney projects like Aladdin and Lion King, Disney decided to give Rice's musical the movie treatment starring Madonna as Eva Perón. For the movie version of the musical, Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote You Must Have Loved Me. Madonna performed the song in the film, and it won the Academy Award for Best Song in 1996. Madonna had two other hit singles from that soundtrack, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, and Another Suitcase in the Hall. In addition to starring in Disney movies and recording music for the soundtracks, Madonna's music has been tied to many Disney projects, soundtracks that she did not appear in movies for. Her music's been in projects like Amphibia on Disney Channel, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and DTV. They've all featured her music. But most recently, and in a very big way, Madonna's music played a very important role in Marvel Studios' Deadpool and Wolverine. Just like the Guardians of the Galaxy, music plays a big role in the Deadpool movies. And when they were writing and staging the film Deadpool and Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy knew they needed Madonna's song Like a Prayer for the movie. It's the finishing touch on some important scenes in the movie, and like we said, Madonna treats her work as an artist, and letting just anyone use it for any purpose could cheapen her art, especially specific songs that hold a special place in her heart, like a Prayer. Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy knew they couldn't just submit a request to Madonna's people to secure the song. Oh no, they had to ask her in person. They had to explain what they wanted and make an appeal to Madonna in hopes that she would grant them the permission to use her most perfect work of art for their film. They got a meeting set up with Madonna and made their pitch. They showed her what her song could do to enhance the scene they had already filmed. Madonna actually really liked what she saw, except for a few notes that she had about the scene. In a few different interviews, one with Andy Cohen, another on Live with Kelly and Mark, Ryan Reynolds tells the story that Madonna had some director's notes about the scene, and apparently they were spot on. Her instincts were right, and Reynolds and Levy agreed with her. They went back, did some reshoots to Madonna's notes, and they got to use Like a Prayer to great effect in the movie. I wish I could tell you what she asked to be changed, but we don't exactly know what changes she offered. Reynolds and Levy won't say what they are, but they tell us that they took her advice and the movie is better for it. Madonna's impact on the Walt Disney Company is probably the most high profile of our 80s pop star royalty. She got headline billing in some big budget movies for Disney, one of which won an Oscar. She was inspired by her work with Dick Tracy to write one of her biggest hits of all time that brought an international resurgence to voguing, a dance that was actually dying out at the time. Madonna, the Queen of Pop, was an actor, an artist, a performer who worked with the Walt Disney Company and was inspired by Disney projects in her own work. But she wasn't necessarily a Disney fan like you or me. In fact, for a brief moment in the 80s, she dated Michael Jackson. I know, weird, right? They were not a compatible match at all. And one of the things that they butted heads on was her refusal to go to Disneyland with Michael. Michael Jackson loved Disneyland so much. He even tried to replicate it for himself a few times over the years. At least that's what the rumors say. But I'm getting ahead of myself, because next time on Synergy Loves Company, super duper Disney Parks fan, the king of pop, Michael Jackson, and Disney. Don't miss that episode. Make sure you subscribe or follow wherever you're enjoying Synergy Loves Company right now. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Just click follow or subscribe, and you will know that when that Michael Jackson episode drops, you'll have it. And while you're there, why don't you give this podcast a rating and a review? It'll help people learn more about what you like about the show. And if you love telling people why you love this show, don't stop there. Could you share Synergy Loves Company with a friend of yours who would enjoy the show? Just tell them about this episode or maybe another episode that is your favorite, or get them excited about this Michael Jackson one coming up. Send them a link on social media. You can even tag me in it so I can say hi. Or you can tell them to visit synergylovescompany.com. And remember, this show is listener supported. There's no sponsors. It's just you and me. And if you feel like you're getting something out of this podcast and you want to show your appreciation, you can support the show on Ko-fi. You can donate any amount you would like, and it helps me keep producing the show. No matter how you decide to support the show, I really appreciate the time that you spend with me So thank you so much. And thanks for exploring Disney's connections with me. Until next time, keep discovering the magic in everything.